Hello everybody, my name is Liam7629 and today we will be playing To Be or Not to Be. A multiple choice game where you can choose the storyline of Hamlet or you can change specific things in the story. When we left off we were being too good of an Ophelia for the narrator and he got pissed off and now he wants us to be Hamlet. Between the last episode and this episode I've turned on the narration so I don't have to read and be a terrible narrator. And we might get a better narrator, I don't know, maybe. Anyway, let's be Hamlet.
You, Hamlet, Prince of all Denmark, are now sitting in your bedroom and playing solitaire for hours and hours and hours and hours, which is a pretty colossally useless waste of your time, especially since you keep cheating. A 5 goes on top of a 3? Hamlet, really? Anyway, at this point, we're 15 games in, and wow, if you're not careful, people might start saying that your tragic flaw is, I don't know, inaction. Eventually the sun goes down, and it's almost 11:30, which hopefully you remember as the appointed hour Horatio told you about, wherein a ghost keeps showing up to bother him. Time to go meet that ghost, huh?
Okay, let's
meet up with Horatio and bust some myths about actual ghosts being real.
Okay, narrator. I get it. I can read too. Let's go meet up with Horatio, my best bud.
You and Horatio go to where he saw the ghost the first time.
Now we play the waiting game,
says Horatio. He's interrupted by the sound of trumpets. You look at him and raise an eyebrow.
They make that noise to warn everyone that King Claudius is getting wasted,
he says.
Those trumpets go off every night around this time.
He sighs.
Denmark,
he says. At that exact moment, something insanely crazy happens. What the frig? I'll tell you what the frig. A ghost is here. Look, ghost.
Just the fact that he read it. Ding! Look, ghost. Okay, let's diddly-dong go look at this ghost that is actually my dad. Hey, Pops.
Don't freak out, but right now you're staring cold in the face of a
specter.
You can't even imagine how crazy this whole situation is. If you're getting too scared, read this next clause over and over until you're not insane with fear anymore. Everything will be okay.
Everything will be
all right, okay, we can do this. With your last shred of sanity, you quickly glance at the ghost, and then you worry that if you stare at the ghost too hard, your brain will realize it's looking at something so insanely impossible that you'll just black out.
Oof.
Anyway, this ghost. You can see through it, but only a little. It's weird.
You're weird.
I'll tell you what the frig else. This ghost does look like your dad, and he's getting closer. Stare at the ghost intently and black out as your mind shuts down. Don't stare at the ghost too intently and try to figure out what it wants.
I think the audio's decent.
Run away.
Okay, we're supposed to not stare at it too intensely and try to figure out what it wants.
Are you my dad?
Are you my dad?
My ghost dad? You ask the ghost, but it says nothing. Instead, the ghost beckons to you. He clearly wants you to follow him and leave Horatio behind. I don't know. Is this safe? Can ghosts kill people?
Depends on how you look at it.
Can ghosts kill people? You ask Horatio.
I don't know, man, but I really don't think you should be alone with that thing,
he says, clearly leaving no ball untripped in his own freakout.
Hamlet, man, something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Man.
I gotta say,
he yells, his quivering finger pointing at the ghost. Well, duh. I'm gonna do it, you say, and you follow the ghost into darkness.
Show me the options, please.
Go on to say,
oh my God.
By that I mean, I'm going to take this last chance to run for it.
Okay. Follow the ghost into darkness and possibly be killed. They should add that in.
You follow the ghost into the mist. After walking for what seems like forever, you get tired of walking.
I'm pretty tired of walking, you say.
You sit down. Pretty sure I'm done
oh my
walking.
God, I'm so tired of these narrations.
Yeah, I'm out. The ghost stops and speaks to you for the first time, its voice issuing forth from lungs that no longer breathe air.
Hamlet, it is I, your father. Look, I can't stay around here forever, so you need to listen to what I tell you.
I'm going to turn off the narration because I just want to read it, honestly. I'm getting a little bit annoyed by the narration. Maybe if I play it casually and I just kind of want to play it, but like I'm not really paying attention, then I would do it. But I just don't feel like it right now. You follow the ghost into the mist. After walking for what seems like forever, you get tired of walking. I'm pretty tired of walking, you say. You sit down. I'm pretty sure I'm done walking. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Apparently I can't read. This is why I should have kept the narration on. Episode 1. The ghost stops and speaks to you for the first time, its voice issuing forth from its lungs that no longer breathe the air. Hamlet, it is I, your father. Look, I can't stay around here forever, so you need to listen to what I have to tell you. I didn't die of old age. I did some digging around, and it turns out that I was murdered by Claudius. You gasp, shocked and enraged. You killed by his own brother? He did it while I slept. I was walking in the garden, and you know how the gardens are really boring, right? You nod. They're boring for even people like me who like them? Exactly! Well, says Ghost Dad. I love that. They just refer to him as Ghost Dad. Well, it was so boring, I fell asleep. And then when I was sleeping, he poured poison in my ear. I didn't know that poison worked in that way, he said. That's what I said, shouts your dad, throwing his hands above the air. He starts to pace back and forth. Anyway, I want you to take revenge on him. I don't know, cuss him out or something, pull his chair out when he's about to sit down, offer him a high five, and then when he goes to high five you, pull your hand away and say, slow. Or should he offer to give you a five hive, leave him hanging. I could murder him, you offer. After all, he is sleeping with Mom. Your dad stops pacing and stares at you. He's what? What now? Tell him that they've been married for 2 weeks and after the funeral. Oh, I didn't read the other. Whatever. You say they've got married basically right after the funeral and makes Claudius king now. You explain how maybe it's technically not incest, but timing alone sure feels squicky? Didn't you ever read a tale of a kindred and affinity whereinsoever you are related or forbidden in scripture and laws to marry together? Asks your dad. Ah, you say, you refer to the document Queen Elizabeth ordered produced, which says a marriage such as this one we're discussing is not just squicky, but a real-life hardcore sin against God. A book which later may its way into the Book of Common Prayer. Itself is itself so influential that we take many phrases as till death do us part and peace in our time from it. The very same, nods your father. Although I imagine that in the future sentiments might change as to whether or not a marriage between genetically unrelated, loving, and consenting adults is among the very worst thing possible for a human being to do. That's not necessary for us to discuss right now. You agree? Anyway, says your dad, kill Claudius for me. Cool? You promise your ghost that you'll commit murder. You promise you're a ghost you'll commit murder in the classiest verse you can come up with. I'm not choosing this by my own way. I'm choosing it by the way that the actual play went by. So anytime you see a skull, that's probably the thing I'm gonna choose. So let's do some classy hip hop verse. You clear your throat, hold one hand open in the front of you, and promise a ghost that you will kill a live human. This is what you say. Yeah, from the table of my memory, I'll wipe away the trivial fong record. All saws of books, all forms, all pressure past, that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandments all alone shall live, wherein the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with bastard matter, yes, by heaven. Your ghost dad seems pretty cool with that. New quest. Kill Claudius, worth 3,500 XP. You have begun a quest, kill Claudius. It's worth 35 XP. That's a lot. What now? Leave it there and return to Horatio? Throw a little sexism in for good measure. Oh, pernicious woman, you add, insulting not only Queen Gertrude, that woman your father adored, loved, and married, but also all women in general. Science Corner. Synonym for pernicious include noxious and oh, okay. The word that itself suggests a long-term harm comes from being in contact with whatever it's being used to describe. Stay classy, Hamlet. Leave it there and return to Horatio. You walk back to where Horatio is waiting for you. Listen, Horatio, never speak of this. You totally saw a ghost thing, okay? We've got to keep it a secret. Ooh, that's cool, says Horatio. No, I'm serious, man. You say, grabbing his shoulder. There's some really serious stuff is going to go down, man. And I really need you to keep this a secret, man. Swear that you'll never talk about this. Man, I swear, says Horatio. Swear it, booms your dad's voice out of nowhere. He already did, you shout. Horatio looks at you questioningly. Hamlet, bro, what's all this about? Oh, fuck it. He says, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, you begin, than are dreamt of in my philosophy. Horatio finishes annoyed. Fine, right, whatever. Okay, Horatio will keep your secret. You've got a quest from the ghost to fulfill, and at the end, probably he'll give you some cool loot for completing it. Maybe? I mean, it's possible. Anyway, it's past midnight, and Claudius is falling down drunk. What now? Say goodbye to Horatio and go kill Go home for nappy times. Let's go home for nappy times. You go home and nap. The next morning it rains, so you don't leave your room. And then the next morning, after that, the ground is muddy. You think maybe you'll leave footsteps that could be traced to you? Anyway, long story short, several days have gone by, and you haven't done a thing. Wherefore, to continue doing nothing for several days, return at the top of this page and you will read it again. Well, that's enough. Time to go. Claudius. Go see Ophelia. She's smart. Maybe she has some ideas about how to commit some good murders. Well, I feel like that's what we're supposed to do, but I really want to read this. You go home and nap. The next morning it rains, so you don't leave your room. The next morning the ground is all muddy, and maybe you'll leave footsteps that can be traced to you. Anyway, long story short, several days have gone by and you still haven't done a thing. Let's just do this. You go home and take a nap. The next morning it rains and you don't go home. Well, long story short, you've gone by and you haven't done a thing. What do you do now? No, just kidding. Go see Ophelia. You go down to Ophelia's place and knock on her door. Who is it? She calls. It's me, sweetie, you said, opening the door and stepping into her room. You haven't seen each other for a while, so it's great to see her. You run up and throw your arms around her and you kiss. It's just like old times. You hold her at arm's length and look into her eyes. Listen, you say, and then you go murder Claudius. Go on to say, I need your help with something. Unbutton your jacket and follow your stockings. Take your garters off and go grab Ophelia by the wrist. I really need to do this just to see what happens. Just imagining, you walk all the way to Ophelia's place. You grab her, arm's length. You look into her eyes. You say, listen. And then you immediately walk away and go kill Claudius.